Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Freelancer on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, and in this episode we have made it into the Honshu system as we attempt to raid Takagi's transport.
Yes. Yukawa, Ozu-sensei, but it looked like they were about to leave. I counted multiple heavy weapon platforms and strong fighter protection. It won't be easy.
We don't have any time to waste.
Mr. Takagi.
What's our plan?
We have to hit them quickly and decisively. First we target the weapon platforms, then the fighter escorts.
How do we get to the transport?
By sneaking
we have
on.
A strike force positioned on Yukawa that will seize control of the transport.
Hey, you guys all talking. You interrupted the top left corner as it was introducing us to the locale that we're at now.
The nebula will cover us most of the way, but the final approach will be in open space. We will have to fly as fast as possible before the scanners detect us. Every second will count.
Alright, we have left the Hyo Cloud, so...
Dun, dun.
So, the graphical effect that's around our blue star here, or white star, what is that called?
I'm ready, Ozu.
God rays?
I don't think it's a god ray. I mean, I'm specifically referring to the bluish ring on the edge of the light source.
We need to cover each other.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm starting to see it now. Well, I mean, you know, let's be reminded of the basics. What is an image? It's matter that is reflecting light. Because if there's no light, then you can't see anything. It's just black. So it's probably some kind of radioactive gas that's reflecting the light.
Take out the other one. We're taking heavy fire
or particles suspended in space that haven't spread out all the way yet.
This is getting close. Another escort fighter destroyed. Hold on. I have a report from the strike team. They got the
We must destroy all of the X's.
Yes.
We're down to one fighter.
All my X's live in Texas dimension.
Out the hostile fighters.
In the Houston sector.
There isn't a Houston sector, but there is a Texas galaxy, so, or a Texas solar system. There. Now that we have successfully taken down both the weapon platforms and spent all of our shield batteries doing so, now we can focus on the rest of the fighters.
We're getting topsy-turvy. Munataka, Iwakura.
I'm trying to think. A majority of the Kusari military forces, are running Drakes, and because they're running Drakes with slightly better weapons than we are, every time that we see ourselves being shot at from behind, we really should switch targets to the guys that are shooting at us, but. It's something that I'm not actually all that skilled with because I don't know where. Oh, we lost one of our wings. I don't know where the additional special flight commands actually are. Like I know that I do know that there are special flight commands specifically for vertical loop and horizontal loop, but I don't know where they are. So.
I guess we'll just have to concentrate not on the loop tactics, but on some good old-fashioned going around in circles dogfighting.
Unfortunately, a majority of Ozu's fighter escort died whilst we were actually fighting the weapon platforms. So, yeah, now it's just ourselves, Ozu and Judy that's left. Thankfully, we're it's now a 3v4, and we should be able to do this from here. Unfortunately, you'll notice that when we lost one of our wings, we actually lost one of our weapons as well. Because, this is a problem that this style of boat actually has with having the weapon mounts above the wing. If you lose a wing, then you lose the weapon that was attached to that wing. So, yeah.
Disengage and protect the transport.
So that would incentivize you to pick boats that do not make so vulnerable or so dependent on existing and intact components of the boat, so that you can continue fighting, because that looks like a slippery slope to disaster. Because if you start losing health and then you lose the ability to fight back, you're just dead.
Okay, so we gotta we gotta get back into the nebula.
The blood dragons. Dragons of blood.
So, once we get back, we have to repair and figure out what the hell to replace our missing weapon with. I think it's probably just going to be
a new one,
right? Or a Sun Fury, one of the two. I forget which.
Well, at least you have a choice in the matter. Anyone else got their stopwatches ready?
What's happening now is the Ozu is actually bugged out. He is supposed to be specifically escorting the transport into the nebula, but unfortunately they're actually tied to us. So since we're not using our cruise engines, they're waiting until we hit a specific threshold to engage theirs.
So if you ever wanted to get an awesome per second on your game, first calculate the amount of awesome, then count how long it took to achieve that much awesome. Awesome divided by time equals awesome per second, and you want your awesome per second in your games to be as high as possible. But right now, there's a lot of time passing, but not a lot of awesome happening.
Yeah, because right now we're trying to get Takagi's escort back to the Blood Dragon base.
This looks like a job for someone who has been playing this game long enough to know the difference between a game sequence that is working and a game sequence that is broken.
We're working now. We've got our cruise engines, and we're getting back into the Hyo cloud.
Well, are we moving, or is that just lights blipping by to give us the impression of motion?
We are moving, I promise, okay?
But, you know, that's why I found it so helpful that we have a destination. Okay, now it looks like we're moving. That the destination and our distance that is usually decreasing as we approach the destination tells us that we're moving.
But now we have been ambushed.
Mr. Trent, we have to destroy these fighters before we jump.
Oh, there they are.
Come on, Trent.
Tadabumi Otani. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Tadabumi Otani.
I don't think we ever actually fight anyone with the last name Susano, so.
Sayonara. Alright, now the awesome is starting to rack up.
Yeah, because now we're actually in combat again.
Does this game recommend that you have a book nearby? No, you're right. That honestly, like, okay, there are some games that like recommend other media as an accessory to the game, like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Like you're supposed to have like an actual
supposed to have the
alternate media printout. You're supposed to have a media other than the game itself, right? And very few games do that. That's why guidebooks and walkthroughs are usually not included in a game package. What is included in a game package typically for classic gamers like you and me, Mr. Gerdau, would be the game disc and the instruction manual and other adverts located as additional media with the game if you bought it at the store during a time window. Maybe if it was a book about maybe if it was a game about like being at a library might bear a strong suggestion. Maybe I should keep my Charles Dickens nearby while I'm playing in case I get bored.
Well, back in the PS1 classic eras, a lot of game manuals actually came with a notes section. And although they were very useful, I very rarely ever used them.
Yeah, me too. remember Pokemon had a note section, like Game Boy Pokemon had a note section. I say, well, that makes sense because Pokemon is albeit it's a simple, graphically looking game, but it's actually really in depth with its content.
Anyway, we are not going back to. We're not going back to the system that we originally came from. We're going to Chugoku instead.
Please go first.
In order to actually make it over to the Blood Dragon home base.
You will be destroyed.
Shoot the rocks.
Lieutenant Ozu, stand down, patrol. We have captured Takagi's transport and are escorting it back to Kyoto as ordered. Yes, Sensei. We are almost there. Junko, Mr. Trent, follow me.
I have the coordinates. Trent, you take the lead. Where are we going?
We're going to Kyoto base, Miss Junie.
Kyoto? Trent, that's the legendary home of the Blood Dragons. I don't know anyone who's ever seen it. Ozu, you honor us.
The honor is ours.
After all, we did just help them do a pretty expensive raid on Takagi, so...
Here we will celebrate our victory over Takagi and Edo. Here you shall receive what you came for.
Hopefully.
I will see you shortly.
Money?
Acknowledged. Your request to talk is
If you got
granted.
money for me, that would be perfect.
Okay, I should really address this. For the story, we aren't really a freelancer. We're being a savior of the galaxy, which means from this point on, we effectively don't ever get paid again.
Well, it just goes to show why there are philosophies that have survived to this day that says that self-interest and going after money actually is not the root of all evil. It is the highest achievement of mankind.
Welcome to Kyoto base.
Lieutenant Ozu, this is amazing. How long have the Blood Dragons been here in this asteroid?
Several generations. With Takagi eliminated, the Edo shogunate is weaker, and our victory is near.
But unfortunately...
Excuse me.
Tell me, how long have you known Ozu?
You mean, was he always a radical in the Blood Dragons? No. When I knew him, he was to be a promising political student at the Kusari Academy.
What happened?
People are changed by their world, Trent. Rarely vice versa. Ozu's living proof of that.
I do like how virtually everyone that we come in contact with has a military background and then just faded out.
Neither the artifacts nor Takagi. He was not on the transport.
Yeah, dude, it's Star Wars logic. Like, every character in Star Wars is related somewhat to the conflict between the Rebels and the Empire.
You occupy yourselves with whatever diversions we can offer.
Well, I
You
can't
see,
just
on planet Earth we have world wars. In Star Wars we have galactic wars.
I'm not on assignment anymore, Trent. I get to see how the other side lives. You know, it wouldn't hurt you to get out there for a while either. Maybe take some missions. From the sound of things, it may be a while. Don't worry.
Yeah, we are officially working for the Blood Dragons, as in we finally get to be pirates as part of the story mode.
Nice.
Only kinda, to be perfectly honest, because Kyoto, despite how comfortable it is supposed to be for both for Junie and Ozu, it's kind of crap, to be perfectly honest. We have the ability to replace our Hawk with another Hawk on the ship dealer, but the only really interesting thing that the Blood Dragons have to really offer us specifically is the ability to actually use pirate weapons for a while. And the thing about that is that, well, we've already if you bother to focus on hunting down pirates whilst you're working for the military, you can actually get pirate weapons already. So yeah, we can now use the Tonto, and the Tonto is okay, but it's effectively the Kusari version of the civilian Starbeam, and as such, it's just okay. It's not great. I honestly would prefer to actually run the Wakazashi, but not only do we not have do we not have the reputation to get a Wakazashi, we also don't really have a hard point to equip it onto. Like, we'd have to get rid of our Pyros Type 1 for it right now.
Well, we did ride into this asteroid on a broken wing. Did we take care of the wing?
We have successfully repaired our boat.
Nice.
Loaded into cargo hold.
We got the floating R-wing icon, except we had to pay money for it.
Okay. And now we can sell a bunch of the trade goods that we actually got, which was a bunch of food rations. Woot! But yeah, the only thing that the Kyoto base actually sells us is, well, for the ship dealer at least, is the Hawk. So at this point, they very much want you to have either the Hawk or the Barracuda in order to, you know, progress onto the story. And from here, we do a free play session with the Blood Dragons. I honestly hope that during this free play session, what we can do is get enough reputation to actually be able to afford a Wakizashi, but it's unlikely because we only had to do a couple of missions here in order to progress into the next story segment. I don't remember if we actually show up doing the free play session or not. All right, everyone, be safe.